It's no wonder people spend most of their time online. Having anything in the world a click away can be an intoxicating feeling. The internet's biggest strength is that anyone can post anything. However, this is also its biggest flaw. Today, we're going to be looking at 5 people who use the web for more disturbing reasons than you could imagine. Mark Alvin was an unemployed 31-year-old father who lived in the Philippines. He was caring for his daughter while his estranged wife worked in Canada. She'd left him for fear of her own life. After she left, Mark continuously fought with her on Facebook, urging her to quit her job in Canada and come back to the Philippines. Things continued this way for 3 long months. Mark's wife promised to return but went back on her word to do so. Mark attempted to commit suicide, but was stopped by his 7-year-old daughter, Angel. While his life may have been saved, Mark continued to fight with his wife on Facebook, even going so far as to threaten the daughter's life if his wife did not return immediately. Not long after, Mark argued with his wife over the phone. The conversation ended in bloodshed because shortly after, Mark repeatedly stabbed his 7-year-old daughter to death. According to police reports, the girl had been repeatedly stabbed in her neck, once in the abdomen and once in the back. Mark then took to Facebook to show his wife that he meant business, posting photos and a video showing the horrifying scene. Shortly after making the disturbing post to his Facebook account, Mark fled to a relative's house where he confessed to the murder of his own daughter. Angel's body was found by police lying face down in the house. When he was later questioned by the police, Mark exclaimed that he didn't recall the act itself and only remembered the sight of blood oozing from his daughter's neck. It's believed that Mark was intoxicated the night of the murder. Mark will likely spend the rest of his life behind bars. Joshua Davies, who was dating Rebecca Aylward, was accepted into his girlfriend's family with open arms. Despite showing signs of a promising future, being both academically gifted and church-going, Davies was far from mentally sound. After a few months, the relationship came to an abrupt end, as teenage relationships often do. During this time, Davies casually joked with his friends about killing Rebecca. One of his friends even made a bet with Davies, offering to buy him breakfast if he went through with the murder. Roughly a year later, Davies asked to see the young girl again. Assuming it was an opportunity to rekindle their relationship, she happily accepted. Her mother remarked that she was quite happy to meet with him. Rebecca's mother also exclaimed that her daughter sounded really happy when she saw it was him coming down the hill. Before meeting his ex-girlfriend, Davies sent a text message to one of his friends reading, "The time has come." He brought the unsuspecting girl out into the woods. As she was looking away, he slammed a large rock into her head and repeatedly hit her as she lay motionless on the wet forest floor. He later brought a friend to the scene of the murder to prove that he followed through with the bet. This is how Davies described the murder. "I tried to break her neck. She was screaming, so I picked up the rock and started to hit her with it. The worst part was the feeling in seeing her skull give in." Shortly after, he went home to update his Facebook profile where he expressed his fears for the reportedly missing Rebecca. He tried to manipulate posts online to establish an alibi. Davies planned to return to the scene of the crime to bury Rebecca's body, and also to attempt to pin the blame on the friend he'd brought there. But his nefarious plans were ruined when his friend went to his parents. Davies' friends later described him as being something of a Jekyll and Hyde character, with a very dark and sinister side behind the facade. In a Facebook post Davies later wrote, he said, "I enjoyed a rather good day and a lovely breakfast," which was clearly referencing the bet he had with his friend. Davies was found guilty and sentenced to 14 years in prison. Lacey Spears was a blogger and avid social media user. She thrived from the attention she received from strangers online and often received sympathy for her son's mysterious and elusive illnesses. Her son, Garnet Spears, was a sickly child on a feeding tube and regularly suffered from fevers, infections, and a failure to thrive, as his mother put it herself. Lacey Spears craved attention from people on social media and did everything in her power to garner as much of it as possible. She concocted a whole narrative about Garnet's father. When the biological father wasn't enough, she told her followers and friends about a fictitious father who Lacey eventually killed off, as if she was some kind of screenwriter for her own life. Lacey received an outpouring of condolences on January 23, 2014, when she informed the web that her son, Garnet, had died. She gained a large following, but it was quickly discovered that she was responsible for her son's death. On top of asking a neighbor to destroy evidence, doctors noticed that Garnet had died after receiving lethal amounts of sodium. Despite having killed her own son in a disturbing guise for social media attention, the judge took a sympathetic approach and sentenced her to the minimum of 15 years in prison. Known as the Kims, this couple met in 2008 through an online chat. The South Korean couple were obsessed with online gaming, even going so far as to visit gaming cafes while the wife was pregnant. Gaming cafes, or PC bangs, are widely popular in South Korea, and it's become a large part of their culture, leading many South Koreans to become gaming addicts. This couple definitely took their hobby to the extreme, sometimes going on 12-hour gaming sessions at a nearby PC bang. Unfortunately for their daughter, the couple frequently neglected their only child, eventually leading to her death after an all-nighter at a PC bang. Ironically enough, the couple spent most of their time on a game called Prius, which largely revolves around raising a virtual daughter. So, instead of raising their real daughter, they spent their time caring for a virtual one. If you didn't think all humans needed to die before this video, you do now. Tim Smith and his wife Kim were a couple that lived in Illinois with their 3 children in 2011. Looking to make some quick cash, the young couple decided to go on a business venture together. Tim Smith placed ads online offering his pregnant wife to anyone willing to pay the right price. It wasn't long before the couple had a customer, Kurt Milliman, who Tim shot in the back during the sexual encounter. Kurt was killed in the ensuing chaos. In court, Tim blamed his alcohol problem and poor choices. Tim is serving a 50-year sentence and played a large role in my newfound cynicism. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider supporting this channel by joining the Dark Circle on Patreon. For $1 a month, you will receive all future narrations in MP3 format, name credit in future videos, as well as a private email to connect with me. Thank you all so much for your support, and don't forget to keep it creepy.